Right, let's have a look at this nice beachside scene. It's a very pleasant scene and there's an obvious focal point here with this white boat, except that there isn't, is there? Because you've got two boats of equal size competing for attention. And worse still, you've got this boat which is facing very clearly out of the picture, so it's taking your eye out the picture before you even start to look into it. And not only are the two competing focal points of about the same size and strength of colour, but they're on either side of the picture, so your eyes are shooting from one side of the picture to the other. One of the funny things that you find when you put things like seagulls or sheep or people into a picture is that when you have an even number, it doesn't seem to work. It seems to work better when you have 1, 3, 5 or 7 rather than 2, 4, 6, 8. Seagulls, people, sheep, bushes, whatever it might be. And what I'd also like to see is some wet in wet techniques where some of these edges become much less defined and flow into each other. That would give a sense that the boat was sitting down into the sand and part of it rather than being placed gently on top of it. And while you're doing that, you could add a little bit of the sand colour to the under part of the hull here and here maybe, and also to the rudder, because you would get a lot of reflected light coming up from the sand, and it'll always, in this case particularly a white hull, will always pick up some of the colour that surrounds it. And one final point is that when you have a peaceful scene like this that you create by using lots of horizontals, you notice there's horizontal bands of colour in the sky. You've got the horizontal strip of water here and the shape of the boats and the streaks on the beach, all give a lovely feeling of calmness and serenity. But what you need to do is to break that up slightly, and one way you could do it is by putting a mast in the boat, or even if it's only a couple of little short aerials on top of the fishing boat here. Okay, this has picked up some of the points that I've mentioned previously. The main thing is that we've taken the large brown rowing boat right out of the picture and I've replaced it by two much smaller boats, so we've still got the marine theme here, but first of all, in no way do they compete with the main fishing boat here. In fact, what they actually do is to complement it. I know what you're thinking now, hang on, you've just said don't have two of something. Yeah, well in this case we've got three fishing boats, one large and two small, and that's my excuse. Here, for instance, I've put 3 posts in the water just to break up this area here, which would be fairly dull and dead. I've also picked up this point about the verticals in the picture by just putting an impression of a couple of masts from the boats. I've got it keeling over on the beach, and I've also added a few fenders that you get around the edges of boats, and you'll see that 2 of the 3 fenders I've painted onto the boat are in an ideal position that really creates a focal point. Many artists use a little hint of red at the focal point just to draw the eye to it. Compared to the beach here, I've put much more texture in. You can see the way I've let a number of colours blend together, and these colours all reflect the colours in the sky. And what I've also done is use little flecks of dark paint to represent seaweed or rocks and stones and what have you, and also lines and bits and pieces of what could be chains or whatever you want it to be, which also help quite subtly to lead the eye into the picture. Oh, and you can also see, obviously I've got the boat keeling over slightly. I've added some of the beach colour underneath, and you can see also here I've let the colours run together, so it's not easy to define where the boat finishes and the beach starts. So I think if we compare that with that, you can see that this has much more interest in the picture, a much clearer focal point, and lots of things going on, but at the same time enough quiet passages to give a nice balance throughout the picture.